Hello, good morning, welcome back to my channel. This is Louise from Louise's Lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to look at some new additions to my houseplant collection. Some of these plants are, well, majority of the plants I got from Bangladesh. One included in that is the Giant Golden Pothos, which I will come to in a minute. One plant is one that I bought here in the UK. So I'll just get to it. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. So the first plant I've got here is a Philodendron Micans lime. I got this plant from Shubba's Bangla Nursery. It was a bit more compact when I got it and it had more leaves. When I transferred it over here, it dropped some leaves. These leaves here are the new ones. And you might be thinking, oh, it looks very sickly, it's gone yellow. That is the colour. It's the lemon and lime Micans. Now you might have heard of Micans. I have already got a Micans plant. This is a cutting of Philodendron Micans. I got a cutting back in 2018 and then that grew really well. And I've recently just chopped it up to make more cuttings out of it. But this is a cutting of the cutting. And you can see the similar leaf shape. They have the same sort of growth pattern, and they have these little aerial roots. And when the new leaves come out, they leave this like a little orangey sheath behind there, and you might think that looks like a dead leaf, but that is the cover for when the new leaves come out. And I'll just show you on here. There it is there. So that's common in this particular plant. So I'm hoping this will get bushier and it will thrive. I've got it on my window ledge over there and it gets good sun. So and I've got it in a mixture of compost and some orchid bark mix in there. So keeping it on the dry side, watering it when it dries out. That's lemon and lime Micans. So the next plant I want to show you is, this is a member of the Scindapsus family, or Epipremnum, different names, different categories for this plant. It's Enjoy, and this is actually a hybrid of, I think, the Marble Queen, which I've got here. So this plant I got back in, I think, 2020 as a baby plant. My daughter got me this, and so I think this is a parent plant of this mixed with another. I'm not sure what the other one. I'll see if I can put that up here if I find out. So I got this from the same nursery as the Micans lime, and this was 300 taka. I think that was the same. I think they were both roughly 300 taka each, which is about £3. So it's not bad, and it's doing well. It's in a similar mixture, sort of mixture of coir compost and a bit of orchid bark in there. And I've got that too, that sits on the windowsill out there and seems to be doing fine. Keeping it moist but not sopping wet. So hopefully I can get the leaves to grow bigger than this. I'll come to that at the end of the video and how I hope to achieve that. And this plant here, this is another Scindapsus, or Satin Pothos. They all have these sort of like shaped leaves, you know, heart-shaped leaves. And I did used to have the Argarius form of this, and I had that for a couple of years, and it sadly lost a lot of leaves at the top and it only had leaves at the bottom. It looked very untidy, so I got rid of that plant. But this is another form. This is the Truby, and there are a number of these. I'll see if I can put up a little image here with all the different varieties of this. I'm not sure if I've shown you this plant, but I got this a few months ago, towards the end of 2021, from Golden Days Nursery, and I got it, and it was about this big, so below my hand. That was the size of the plant. So it was fairly bushy, but this is all new growth here, and that's the latest leaf, which is a much bigger leaf than the ones down here. Now I think that's because A, I've got it climbing up this moss pole, and B, I've changed the position. It used to be on that bookcase there, but now I've brought it nearer, so it's not right next to the light, but it's near the light. So and I think the moss pole has helped. So I'm going to talk about the moss pole in a minute, and hopefully how I want to increase the size of the leaves of this plant. So that's the Scindapsus truby, as it was labelled, but I think some people call it exotica as well. So there's that plant there. So the final plant that I've got to show you is the golden pothos, the giant golden pothos. So if you have a look at this, these are two cuttings that I've got in a plant pot, and this was taken from a giant vining pothos that was in Bangladesh, where I went to visit my late sister-in-law's garden. They're due to have it redeveloped, and they have a huge coconut tree growing through the house. I did actually do a video of that. I'm not sure if I filmed this, but this was in that garden. And the base of the plant, the leaves are this size. So this in fact was running along the ground at the bottom of the plant. But as the plant grew up this wall, the leaves got bigger and bigger, and they were huge. Much bigger than the normal size leaves that you get on devil's ivy or golden pothos in this country. You know, you'll see an average size probably leaf be like that here, but they don't grow to that massive size, but this does. And the key to getting them to grow that big seems to be they like to climb and hold on to things. So I've got this on a moss pole, and as this is a cutting, when you get a cutting, any new leaves that come after, so these are all the original leaves on this plant. So that's the original leaf, that's the original leaf. So there's two plants here. But the new plants, when the new leaves come out, they are smaller, and that's normal. So the first new leaves, so even if you have, say, like a Monstera, you know, the Swiss cheese plant, they've got huge leaves. If you took a cutting and planted it, the first new leaf wouldn't in fact have the holes or the fenestrations in it. It would just be a solid leaf, and it would be smaller. So that's what's happened here. This has put out new leaves since I got it. So that's the first new leaf. I don't know if you can see the little leaf there, just right in there. It's a bit hard to show you. There's a little leaf in there. Then the next leaf it's got is here, and the newest leaf is this one. So it's slowly getting bigger. The leaves are getting bigger. How do I hope to achieve bigger leaves? Not just in the golden pothos, but also in this, and in the marble queen, and in this truby. Well, I watched a YouTuber from Australia. See if I can put her details here, her channel, on how to get bigger leaves on your pothos plants. And she has all of these, the ones that I've just shown you, she has all of these plants growing, and she has modified the moss pole. So this traditional moss pole that lots of people make using this plastic trellising and sphagnum moss, she's modified it in that she's put the plastic backing, and her moss poles are sort of wider. They're not narrow like this, they're sort of wide like that. So there's more space for these vines to grow up. but on the back of them she's got this plastic clipped on with cable ties, and that helps to, so she actually waters her moss pole. I used to spray mine but found it dried out very quickly. She actually waters hers, and it helps to retain the moisture by having half of it covered with this plastic, so keeping the moisture in. And the front half is where the plants, where they have these aerial roots. There are aerial roots on these plants, if you can see there, at these joints here. These would go into the moss and they would feed directly. And she actually fertilises the moss that she uses as well, soaks it in a fertiliser, and that feeds the plant as well. And the leaves on her plants are huge. Now, as I say, she's in Australia, so she's probably got better weather conditions, I don't know, but her plants are indoors, they're not outdoors. And I'm not sure if she uses artificial light as well for them, but she's got all of these plants. She's got this plant starting off with leaves this size at the base, and as the plant's grown up this moss pole, it's got these huge leaves getting bigger and bigger. So I'm going to have a go. I'm going to try and emulate. So I'm going to copy her and try and see if that is going to work for these plants. So I'm going to modify these moss poles that I've made myself and see if I can get some kind of plastic backing on the back, make them a bit wider. So that's a project I'm going to do probably in July. I'll get all the raw materials together and have a go and see if it works. So fingers crossed. If anybody's actually doing that already with their house plants, with their Scindapsus, with their pothos plants, and it's worked, particularly if you're in the UK, I'd like to hear from you. And if you're growing the Giant Golden Pothos as well, if you've got any tips on how to keep it growing healthy, would appreciate. And also on any of the other plants as well, like the lemon and lime micans and the enjoy and the truby. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.